Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. When someone says operate from your zone of genius, what do they mean? What is a zone of genius and how do you get into one? Well, a zone of genius is an incredibly obvious idea. It's the idea that we are better at things that we love doing. And because we love doing it, we tend to do it in every context of our life. We do it with our friends, we do it at work, we do it in our hobby, we do it at our church, wherever. And it's kind of like that thing that we're kind of like born to do. It's kind of like our natural gift or our natural ability, and we just kind of naturally gravitate towards places where we can do that thing. Maybe we love cooking and we do that as a profession, and we do it for friends and family and kind of any chance we get. You know, my sister is a fantastic cook. It's not her job, but it's her passion, and she's always watching cooking shows and loves to cook for her family when people come to town. And so sometimes our zone of genius is a career and sometimes it's not, and we can usually have multiple zones of genius where we love cooking and that's kind of one thing we do, and we love working with kids and that's another thing that we do. So we can express ourselves in multiple ways, and I think that's what makes a rich life, is having kind of multiple interests and multiple things that we're trying to get better at, because it's fun, it's exciting, it's fulfilling, it's rewarding. So a zone of genius is really what excites you, and are you doing that thing and kind of getting better at it? And usually a career is an opportunity to take our genius and express it in a certain way. Now, I'll give you a couple of stories about this. A few years ago, I was about 4 hours away from home on a day trip, and my car broke down. And it was a really stressful experience. And so, I called my insurance company, who called a tow truck company, and the tow truck driver who showed up was, I would say, a genius tow truck driver. And here's what I mean. He made me feel so taken care of. He said, you know what, don't worry about it. You just sit here. I'm going to handle everything. Don't worry. I'm going to get you home. I'm going to take care of everything. I'll handle the insurance. Like, he took exquisite care of me in that moment. And on our 4-hour drive home, I asked him, I said, hey, what made you decide to become a tow truck driver? And he said, and he had to think about it. He said, I really love helping people when they're stranded. And I love helping them get home safely and get where they need to be safely. It's just kind of something that I enjoy doing. And I thought, well, isn't that cool? Here he is, someone with a passion to help in that way. And the career is as a tow truck driver, where he got to express that passion. Now, he could have been a lifeguard or a Coast Guard or something else where he could have done that, but he chose tow truck driving. And I think careers are like that. It's like we've got this kind of gift or this passion, and we pick a career that gives us a chance to express it. You might take someone that's a really great manager or leader. They would be great in any company, in any industry. They just love managing and leading people. That's kind of like their genius, and that's where they get to express it. And the company, the career, the product, or whatever kind of maybe doesn't really matter. Or maybe they've got a dual genius. They love doing that, and they're really passionate about the healthcare space. And so these are kinds of like the multidimensional ways we can kind of express ourselves and get into a zone of genius. And what's interesting about careers is often what'll happen is, because we're interested in getting better and better at the thing that we enjoy, we'll do something for a while, and then we feel like we've kind of tapped out on that channel. And maybe it's a job. And so we say, okay, well, I've kind of done it. Let me explore a different angle, a different aspect, a different company, a different level, a different industry, a different something. And so we switch and we get to express the thing that we love or that excites us in a different way and kind of continue our mastery. And so this is really what genius is. When someone says, I'm in the zone, like, what does that mean? It really means they're in the zone of genius. And the zone of genius is when three things kind of come together. And this is what I believe to be really the definition of genius. It has nothing to do with IQ or intelligence. It's kind of like when these elements come together, it's what genius looks and feels like, is geniusing. And here's the elements. One is passion. Like, what are you passionate about? What excites you? What are the things that you love doing and you love getting better at? Like, that's kind of one element, that kind of passion. And many of us are kind of already doing it or doing parts of it, and some of us maybe haven't discovered that yet, and that's okay. But really, when you're in the zone of genius, you're kind of doing something that you love. The second element is what I call strategy. Because you love it, you're getting better and better and better at it. You're exploring new ways, you're making different connections, you're improving your skills. Over time, when you get better and better, it leads to mastery. So passion plus strategy and over time mastery, combined with a third element, which is this idea that you can kind of channel inspiration, you can channel an idea, a creation, a moment, an expression, or a perfect sort of stopping of time, and something kind of magical happens. When those three things come together, it looks and feels like genius. And so when someone says, man, I was really in the zone, it's when those three things come together. So it's that passion plus that strategy and mastery plus that kind of channeled inspiration. Those three things together is when you're in a zone of genius. And when you get good enough, you can kind of repeat that consistently. It looks to others like genius. And the truth is, it actually takes quite a bit of time to get there. And so when we see someone as genius, it's because they've kind of been at it for a long time and those elements align more consistently or more visibly to the outside world. But even early on in our journey, we can kind of see those moments come together. We can be in those little mini zones or have those beautiful genius moments kind of all along the points of our journey. And so that is really when someone says, I'm in the zone, they're in the zone of genius. And that's really what that means, those things coming together, which I think is a really cool idea. And I love experiencing and helping people do that. And I love being in the energy when people are in that kind of zone of genius. It's just really magical. I think it's kind of that part of us as humans that loves seeing other people excel. It's beautiful. So if you're like stuck or unhappy or not sure what to do, it's probably because you're not tapping into what excites you. And you're doing too much of kind of what doesn't. And there's sort of this natural tendency of our soul to want to gravitate towards what we love. It's kind of like this expression of our soul that wants to create and get better and be in that kind of special zone and unique kind of signature soul energy. And so when we're unhappy, that's just our soul's way of saying you're not doing what you love. And so minimize that and go find things that you do love. You know, whether it's a hobby or a career or just a chance with friends or family or in your church or in any other context, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like find a way to do what you love and it will bring you happiness. So that is really what it means to be in a zone of genius. And if you're not sure what that is for you, you can just simply take a pen and write down, what do I love doing? What brings me happiness? What brings me joy? What lights my fire? What brings me excitement? When I think about my day, what are the fun parts of the day? What's the part that kind of has a special quality to it that feels really good? And that is usually an indication of kind of your zone of genius. And then finding a career or an opportunity or a place where you can express that is really, I think, what our soul's calling is wanting. So I hope that helps define what a zone of genius is and kind of how to get into one. If you enjoyed this video, please look for other videos on my channel where I talk about genius and career and passion and excitement and soul's calling and kind of how you can bring all those things together to create a magical life. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. And you can get notified of when I bring out new videos. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.